Welcome everyone back to another session with Dr. Brew. Today we'd like to discuss a few things that people have questions on when it comes to coffee. And one of the most common questions is, what is the differences in roast profile? And I like to compare variations in roast profile just like ordering a nice steak, whether you want it medium rare where it's a very light roast compared to coffee, or well done where it's a rather dark roast coffee. So you can have everything from a light to a dark and all the gradients in between. One of the ways that we measure coffee is with some sort of color classification book or set. And there's also machines, the Agtron style machine to determine color, as well as other different coloring measured devices to determine what is the proper roast color that you're looking for. This particular one is a color tile set, and we've picked some variations of coffee here and roast colors. And the way you'd use the tile set is to pull out a tile and match it to the closest coffee color that your roast development has attained. Now this one skips about 10 points per grind difference or roast difference we have here. And you can see by the color chips there is a variation from a relatively light roast to a very dark roast. One of the things that seems to affect brewing performance from roast selection is differences in grind. You can have as much as a 15% finer grind simply by setting your grinder with a light roast and going all the way to a darker roast coffee at the other end of the scale. What I mean by that is the bean, just like a piece of kiln-dried wood, is rather tough, but a charcoal briquette that started out as wood is very brittle. And if you smack the two, you would have much larger pieces from the kiln-dried wood. You'd have much finer pieces from the briquette. And when you grind the coffee beans, they do grind finer and create more fines with the darker roast coffees. So when you go back and you reference some of the information that's out there for brew times, where you want to be 1 to 4 minutes of contact time for a fine grind, 4 to 6 minutes for a drip grind, 6 to 8 minutes for a coarse grind, that if you are familiar with your coffee as far as a medium or light roast and you've used a drip grind, if you don't change your grind setting and run a darker roast coffee through it, expect to get a finer grind, and your extraction times then may be too long. So experiment. If you are normally drinking a lighter roast coffee, experiment with a medium roast, see what the difference in flavor is, and see if you enjoy that change. You might venture off a little darker yet, or if you're normally a dark roast drinker, find your way down the scale and see what some of the high points are of a lighter roast coffee. Hope all this information was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Check out the Dear Dr. Brew blog, and there will be information there about grind and roast development. Thank you.